Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you can learn to make more money in less time and have more fun. I'm Paul Sanneman, the founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. I'm privileged this morning to have Taylor Hill from Spark Marketer, and we had a great discussion about AI and some other things. So this could be an interesting discussion. Okay, so Taylor, tell them about your background and what you do, so the audience knows why they should listen to you.
So, kind of in a nutshell, I've had a lot of different jobs, been in a lot of different places, but they've all been media centric. So, owned and operated a very large company back in the I'd say early 90s. And when I say a large company, there was two of us and a big silicon graphic machine that cost $500,000. That's the large part.
Right.
The investment you had to make. So I've been around computers, animation, what you can do, what you can't do for a long time. And got into marketing. I've been a songwriter for years, came to Nashville, Tennessee as a songwriter. MP3 happened. Well, there went that. So just turn that skill into really marketing and helping small contractors. I mean, we help contractors from about 500,000 a year up to I've got some at 15 million a year. So it's a wide range, but we do a lot of work.
No, it's funny you should mention the MP3 thing. I like to have a little discussion about AI. When people say, well, I don't know what AI is going to do, I use the musicians that thought that streaming music wasn't going to change anything are sort of in the same position, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really difficult to make a living just as a standalone songwriter,
Right.
unless you know an artist or hooked into an artist or are an artist.
I
So
remember the old days, people used to do concerts to sell CDs. Now they, stream music, so they make money at concerts. It's totally changed, right?
yeah, where they make their money is in the merch. I mean, all the merchandise.
Merchandise and
Yeah,
price. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
So the
that's
business
it.
models change.
Hmm.
So a little bit about marketing. How do you think AI, because you're a guy who's in this, how do you think AI is going to change the way small contractors market their services?
I think there's two things if you look at AI, what it can do and what it can't do. So the one thing is if you're a small contractor and you have time to do some things, there's some great products out there that can help you. If you're a small contractor and don't have time, there's some great companies out there that can still help you.
Okay.
And I will tell you, this is the most exciting thing to me. And a lot of people have said, Taylor, I don't know why this is so exciting to you. But I think in the next 6 to 8 months that we're going to be able to bring costs down on what we do to where it's at least half, if not more, using AI and what AI can do. And I know I've had people say, well, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face, but it's like, yeah, not really, because I can take my staff and do a whole lot more and have a lot more people with the staff that I currently have than I can doing what we're doing right now. So, man, I'm excited, and I
Yeah.
hope contractors are excited.
Yeah, I find the same thing. We're a recruiting company, and with AI, we can do 2 to 3 times this amount of work with the same amount of people, which is
Yeah,
great. I mean, I think
that's
that
so great.
really reduces costs. So it's the same thing for you. So to be more specific, how do you think you're going to reduce cost using AI to help small contractors do marketing? What changes are going to happen?
So everybody's looking at these chat bots. They go on your website, they just chat back and forth. We've actually found one that's more of a sales assistant that's on the front end, but on the back end, it is remarkable what it does for local SEO. And I've been doing search engine optimization since 2003. So I've been in this world for 20 years. And I've never seen anything that could I guess, SEO me. And I think this has the potential to do that. Now there's some things you have to have with it. You have to have a really good written, optimized website, but you put those two things together, and yeah, it changes the game because SEO is what is so costly. I mean, that's what costs so much money.
So Tim, explain exactly how can AI improve SEO? We got a lot of acronyms around here,
I
right?
know, I
So
know.
how can artificial intelligence improve search engine optimization?
So one of the biggest hurdles that we have is to get our clients to get us information, pictures, videos. What are you doing? Tell me what that job is so we can actually take that and write it.
So
Okay.
it's content, right?
Yeah, it's content driven. So, you know, these guys, and no fault of their own, by the way. I mean, they're out working their tails off, and we realize that.
Right.
So, you know, to bug them all the time and say, "Where's a picture? You got a before, during, and after picture? Do you have a video? You know, what do you got out there?" A lot of them are like, "Man, I'm just trying to get my job done. Leave me alone."
Right.
I get it. But it's very difficult to write really specific content that really highlights your expertise and your experience. You know, we can write authority, we can write all kinds of things. You know, the technical stuff is easy, but getting the real thing, what you do on a daily basis, is difficult. So this particular bot that we're representing right now actually has a app. Technicians have the app. They literally take before, during, and after pictures on the app, and then they annotate with a button and annotate and say, this is what we're out here doing. And we've tested it. I mean, I've given it like really short directions. They get done, they finish the job. The bot actually takes it and creates a case study. So it's not necessarily a blog post, but it's a case study that's, you know, talks about the town they're in, talks about what they're doing, attaches the photos, the video, whatever. And we go on the back end, we read through it because this is a big thing when you're using AI. You never want to let anything fly without people actually reading through it. So I've
Right.
got, you know, I've got 4 writers on staff that are experts at what they do. They go through, they read it, they make sure everything is right, they approve it. It goes to the website. So now there's a very specific content about what they're doing on the website that helps with SEO. And on top of that, on the front end, when people come there, it actually draws from that content, shows those pictures, shows, you know, the testimonials that people have, the 5-star reviews. All that actually works as a pre-sale system. So you're having this circle, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people come in, they see the content, it pre-sells them. You're working on the back end, creating the content, making sure it's approved and correct. And it's just this circle. And as you know, AI learns over time. So the
Mhm.
more you use it, the more it learns.
So let me get this straight. So I'm on a job and I'm going to say, okay, I showed up at ABC House. The sewer was plugged. I unplugged the sewer. The client's happy. Her name's Mary Smith. Here's a picture of us unplugging the sewer. I'm done. Boom. And
That's it.
then that goes to you. It writes an article about how John unplugged the sewer for Mary Smith with a picture and writes all the content like this guy was actually writing, and he's not, because he says, you can assume you're a plumber that did this job, and it could be the plumber that did the job, and you're
Mhm.
writing an article, so it assumes that he's John Doe, the plumber. It writes the article for him, and then you publish the article. And then when the person looks at the article and say, oh, I'm interested in dealing with ABC Plumbing, that if they call ABC Plumbing, actually a bot in a way could answer the phone, right? And the bot
Yeah.
could say, hey, thank you for being, concerned with, excited to work with ABC Plumbing. Can I set you up an appointment for a home inspection of your own sewer? Would Tuesday or Thursday be better? The bot can set up the appointment, right? And
Mhm.
then John Doe, somebody, then the bot schedules it. And then all that has to happen is the sales guy has to go out and do the service call. Is that what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. I mean, it is like a full range of things. And 46% of the people that are trying to schedule with a contractor don't want to talk to anybody. They just don't want to talk to you. You know, so for them to be able to get online, go to a website, see pictures of what people are doing, see reviews about that specific service that's taken place from people, then all of a sudden say, well, can I schedule? And they're like, yeah, we can schedule it right now. Or you can set it up to where And this is, again, this is one of the things that you have control over, because we do have people that are like, I don't want to schedule because they'll schedule me, 500 miles from one thing to the other, and I can't do that in a day. There's ways to do that, by the way. However, we do have people that say, yeah, we want to call them back. So we tell them, hey, they'll either call you first thing in the morning, or 15-minute window. They're going to call you in the next 15 minutes.
Right.
So,
So you can
yeah,
make AI assume the personality, what he wants to. I mean, I just tried this. I'm into, I don't know if you know about Marshall Rosenberg and
yeah,
nonviolent communication. So I basically said, you are Marshall Rosenberg, you're an expert in nonviolent communication. Could you please write a request for this person to do the resume, or send us the assessment and NVC? And it wrote the thing like Marshall would write it. It's amazing, right?
yeah. So here's another thing. We're testing something right now. I've got a client that's very forward thinking, and I said, "Hey, dude, do you want to try something? Because we can actually go in and take and set up an AI bot that's just for you, just for your brand, that can talk like you, look like you, everything about you." And he's like, "Oh, absolutely." He's like, "I'm all over the place. If I could have one place where we could just go and ask a question and it would answer like I would answer, that would be fantastic." So we're actually trying to set that up and to see how that's going to work. We've seen other people do it. It seems pretty cool. And then you got the video potential. Did you see Sora? Did you see
Yeah,
the,
it actually
yeah.
makes a video. Explain, because I was blown away. So explain to people what SOAR is. Like, oh my God, this
Oh
is like
man. Now
amazing.
it's not for public consumption yet, but man, it is so cool. You literally prompt it and it creates the video from scratch. Now, if you read deeper into it, here's a couple of other things that I think is really exciting when you talk about a service business. Let's just say you take those 3 pictures I talked about in the app. So now you got the before, during, and after. Take those pictures, upload that into Sora, and say, create a video. Now it goes through and creates a video based on those pictures, and literally interconnects those two things and fills in all the gaps. And now you watch the video and say, yeah, it's exactly what we did. You hit another button, it goes to YouTube.
I know, it's amazing.
It's,
Now,
yeah,
this is something that I came revelation the other day. This is how AI is really affecting the service industry.
yes,
We're gonna have a discussion. So what's happening is you look at what businesses can AI replace? Attorneys, doctors, anybody who's selling information for money, AI can do. Like I have a client of mine who was having a legal issue with the state of New York because over, rights of, and what do you call it? Just over a piece of property. He
mm-hmm.
used AI to write all the correspondence, didn't use an attorney, and saved him thousands and thousands of dollars because it did a great job of being the attorney for him and representing him against the state of New York. So
Yeah,
if you're capital in this country, you're going, okay, what can't AI replace? Guess what? The service business, right?
that's
AI
right.
is not going to go out and fix your drain. So if you saw the South Park episode where the what do you call him, the handyman became the billionaires because the only guy could do anything, right? Everybody else was working
Right.
for free. So what happens, I think, the way the AI is, because capital is now going into service business and huge, they're making consolidating, they're giving people huge amounts of money for plumbing businesses and all kinds of businesses. And that's the good news and the bad news, because the good news is you'll be able to sell your business. The bad news is in 5 to 10 years, there won't be the small plumbing contractor. What's going
Oh
to
yeah,
happen is AI is going to come in. It's sort of like I used the analogy a long time ago. There's no corner drugstores. They don't exist, right? You go to Walmart, you go to whatever, CSV, but there's no corner drugstore anymore, right? Well, I believe in a very short period of time, there's not going to be the local plumber, the local, local HVAC guy. Because what capital is doing is they're coming in and buying up these guys like crazy. I know I talked to a guy who was a VC and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm starting a roofing company. I go, you've got $100 million and you're starting a roofing company? He goes, yeah. He says, I can come in to this town because the old guys are like, they aren't stuck in their ways. They're not going to do stuff. They
yep,
don't know how to market. They don't know how to recruit. They don't know how to build a business. They just know how to fix roofs. All
yep,
right. The new guys, 2 guys in a truck, they're rejecting all this stuff because they go, no, I don't need all this AI stuff. I don't need all this, fancy marketing stuff. I just do a good job and answer the phone. They're going to be history, both sides. He says, I can come in. He said, I can own the roofing business in Louisiana in 4 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm a really better businessman than they are. And fixing the roof is not the issue. It's how do you get the clients? How do you get the employees? How do you build a business? Fixing the roof is not a big deal. So what I see happening is the entire service industry is going to change in the next 5 years. Huge.
Yep.
Because people using this kind of technology will own it. Because
Well,
they can do way better. They can do it way better, faster, and cheaper. Not the actual roofing or doing the plumbing, but finding the client, servicing the client. You know, the two important parts of a service business are marketing and recruitment, having a great team and having great clients.
yeah.
And if they can do that better than the average guy who's doing it, they're going to win.
Here's the thing, though, about that. I'm going to push back a little bit. Okay. Because here's my pushback on that. I personally think that right now, for those people that are listening to this, if they can get on the train, they can actually build a really good service business and not spend the money that some of these other bigger businesses have had to spend to build.
Well, I would agree, but they have to be open to it. I mean,
Oh, sure.
as I see it, if a service business, like the guy says, hey, if you can replace me with AI, I'm all for it. Just have it be my virtual assistant and be me, right? Or have it be my LinkedIn guy and go to LinkedIn, or have it be, you know, be me. This is who I am, and it'll do that for you. I say, yeah, if a service businesses adopt technology, it's way cheaper than it used to be. Like I can do recruiting for 10% of the cost because they use AI and offshore labor. There's no contest. You know, I can recruit everybody they want for $15 a month. And because I'm using technology, I'm a little guy, right? And now, you know, I think the world's largest recruiter that does that because I'm adapting the technology. The same thing, I think, with service businesses like you're working with. If they are willing to adapt the technology, it's cheap. I mean, what's ChatGPT? $20 a month? I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
And
what's interesting about that is this. I just was at a conference last week, okay, a trade show. And do you know that every single person that came by that would actually listen to what this bot would do, 97% of them signed up and said, yeah, I think I want to do that.
wow.
A lot of it is they don't know. They don't know what these things can do. And
I know.
here's the other thing that was just crazy. I sat and we did a presentation, an hour presentation. One of the biggest competitors in our space came up to me afterwards and said, dude, you blew me away. I had no idea that all this stuff was there. Now think about that. He's a marketing guy. He's not talking to his people about it. We blew him away. I'm like, why in the world is anybody in marketing today doesn't know about this stuff?
I mean, I did this, you know, I did the same kind of thing when we're using AI and various assessments, I can tell everything about a person in an hour, right? And people don't know the technology is there. You know, we hired 500 people last year, 17 times. The technology is there, right? But you have to adapt the technology. And, you know, I've been dragging contractors through technology for God knows 50 years, right? I was back there when pagers, right?
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't use a cell phone because it would disturb their peace of mind in the truck. And then, you know, email was a fad. Who needs a website, right? The next one was, you know, web-based project management. Now I don't need that. My latest one's AI, which is probably bigger than all those put together. And if you adopt it, like for finding clients, for finding employees, you can kill it for a fraction of the cost. But if you resist, you're probably going to get bought out or die. I mean, your business.
Yeah. And you will. And I totally agree with you 100% there. So my advice is if you want to stay relevant, adopt it. Talk to people who know about it. Talk to you, talk to me. You know, find out the people that are embracing it and using it and being successful with it and move. I mean, it's just, and that's the other thing, the decision part. Just, and I'm sure you're the same way. Well, just don't know. Just, you know, man, everything's going so fast. You have to make a decision.
The thing is, and contractors are sort of Luddites when it comes to technology. They've always been slow, right? They're just what they do, right? And it's like, you know, the musicians, I don't know if you saw the Spotify thing. If you fight streaming music, you're going to lose. I mean, you want to, all music is basically free, right? And if you were making CDs and went, oh, I'm going to stay in the CD business, you're done, right?
That's it. You're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
And if you're a plumber or an HVAC guy and say, no, I really don't want to look at AI. I want to look at, I'm good enough the way it is, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I use the example, I'm showing up to the job with a backhoe and you got a shovel. There ain't no
Yeah.
contest, right? I mean, you will lose every time. It's not because you're not smarter, you don't care, you just haven't got the right technology. And I see AI, I look at sort of, fire, electricity, and AI. I mean, I look at that kind of way of changing the society.
Mm-hmm.
And if you adopt it, you can be, the largest HVAC guy in your market in 3 years if
Yep.
you'll adapt it. But if you fight it, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I think.
100%. And I would agree with you. And I would just add to that it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. When you start and you couple AI with automation, what those two things can do together. I mean, we're working right now on what we call MOST, which is a marketing operating system today. That's just kind of our deal. We just, we haven't even released it. We're not coming out with it probably till June, but it is pairing AI and automation in a way that once you have your website done, you put this system in place, you really don't need anything else.
The thing is that Google, like Google is very content driven, relevant content driven. And if you can deliver a ton of relevant content for a fraction of the cost, like you don't need a bunch of blog writers, all you need is the right app.
That's
and
it.
somebody to review it, you're done, and you get all the business you want. Why wouldn't you do that? And we can give them all the employees they want using AI to recruit. I mean, like, duh, how hard is that to figure out,
It's
right?
not. And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
No,
So, yeah.
it's actually cheaper. I think marketing costs, spend 10% of your budget. I think that's going to go down because
Oh, yeah.
if you have
Yeah.
automation and your guys can do it in the field. I know, what was it? Go back to that South Park episode. The therapist was trying to trade therapy for getting his stove fixed, whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
And he said, no, I got my therapist on my phone. It's my best friend, right? I just call my therapy app and it gives me therapy on the phone. And it's going to go that way, right? And so I'm excited because it's a really exciting time. But at the same time, if you don't adapt, you're probably going to either sell out to a large company who does, or somebody who's doing it, or you're going to just go out of business because they're going to do it better, faster, and cheaper, and you can do it.
Yeah, and the real thing about AI, and I guess, always bring it back to this. My grandfather, I didn't know this at the time, was the largest independent farmer in the United States in the 1960s, down in and around Lubbock, Texas. And my aunt had passed away, his sister, my great aunt, and I was 12 years old, and he asked me to stay down there with him afterward, just ride around on the farm for a couple of weeks, which I did. And so one day I just said, how'd you get so big? And he thought about it. He goes, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, well, tell me how. And he thought, well, he goes, I'll tell you what, I think the reason is when I was a kid and we were plowing with mules and horses, there was only so much you could get done. So after I got my first tractor and realized what a tractor could do, it opened my world up. I could see.
Actually, one of my friends has one of the largest organic farms in Finland. He literally takes the tractor, pushes the button, and it nobody needs to be there. It does the whole field. I mean, somebody can sit and watch it do the field and sit in the tractor and read a book, right? But it uses GPS to do the whole thing. There's no human interaction and needed in, plowing.
Yeah.
It's a huge machine, and it just sets up the GPS and hits the button, and he's done, right?
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
it's the same kind of thing, and it's an exciting time. So I mean, I'm going to say adapt or die. That's probably a little, negative, but it's an exciting time. So if people, I really like your your attention to AI, Taylor. If people want to get in touch with you and say, okay, I'm in, how can AI help my business? How can AI help me get good clients? How would they get in touch with you?
Just email me, taylor@sparkmarketer.com. SPARKMARKETER.com.
Okay, cool.
That's
Well,
why.
I think this is, you hear the two rowboats and a helicopter joke. Ever heard that joke?
Yes.
Okay. So, the guy was drowning and Jesus sent two rowboats and a helicopter. But the point is, this could be a rowboat, guys. I mean, here's a guy who says, here's the technology. He'll talk to you for free for the first time and let you know what's available. If you don't do it and you end up getting run over by AI, it's pretty much your own fault.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's an option. And it's interesting. We're the first generation. I had this argument Mike the other day that there are more cell phones than there are people on the planet. And everybody has access to pretty much all the technology they want. This is the first time in history that this has ever been true. Now, the point is, you can either watch TikTok on, how to, make a souffle, or you can watch how to improve your business. You have the choice now. You can't, ignorance is no longer an excuse. I didn't know.
Yep.
That's gone away. So I look at this as we're given the opportunity for listen to this podcast. You make one phone call to Taylor here, and he will tell you how AI can transform your business and get you all the clients you want if you just listen. So I really recommend you give him a call. Thanks, Taylor. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Sorry about that.
Hey, no problem.
Wrong right at the end.
There we go. That's all good. We're good.
It is.
Thanks, Taylor. I appreciate you being here.
You bet. Thanks, Paul.